everyone. I'm Cole from the Kingdom. I'm joined here with CrimsonWolf.
Hello, world. Thank you for having me, Cole.
Thank you for being here. So we are going to be ranking the main series Dragon Age companions. Uh, I'm not including the temporary companions from Origins or the like the DLC like Witch Hunt and stuff. We're just including Origins 2, Inquisition, and Awakening. And for characters that appear in multiple games, we have them listed twice, like Anders. We're going to rank them based on how they serve in each game individually.
Uh,
So, I do kind of want to start off with Alistair.
oh, okay. The golden boy.
Yeah. Because to me, he's just. I think he's a great brother in arms, and it's awesome to see him go from your goofy sidekick to King of Ferelden.
Right. Potential king if you chose that route.
Right, yeah.
Alistair, I think overall, if you're talking about just gameplay wise, I like him because I always like being a damage dealer. So I don't like being a tank. So I love Alistair that he's the tank of the group. It just
That
takes
works.
everything. So as far as gameplay wise for me, that's why he would probably be ranked probably a if not S tier because if he's not tanking, I have to be a tank, which I don't like.
Yeah, I pretty much always have Alistair with me in every quest. Can't really think of one where he's not there. He's just to me he's just like he's almost as essential to the story and the battlefield as the player character is.
Well, yeah, I think that's also because of the story, because you want him with you the entire time, and
Hmm.
because how early he's with you, you feel like he needs to be there, especially since he's the only other Grey Warden in your party. So like you have to do this together.
Right. I want to put him in S tier. So
I can agree with that.
now a lot of people don't like Alistair. Um, I think a lot of that comes from his quote hissy fit. If you want to spare Loghain, but I had a video about this. But he's not wrong about Loghain. He can't be trusted.
I don't disagree. I can understand why some people may not like that, but at the same time, from Aster's perspective, you have someone who betrayed the king slash brother, and you want that person to live. I kind of see his point of view where why should you let Loghain live?
Yeah.
So, and also you got to think in any kind of monarchy, if you kill the king or betray them in any way, that's literally trial for death. So he's not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. But let's do Loghain next.
So Loghain is really interesting because before I read the novels, it was automatically hate Loghain, hate him right away.
Hmm.
But once you read the novels and see like his backstory and his like relationship with Caden and everything and Merrick, it's very hard to see like not see his point of view, but at the same time he is outright wrong for what he does.
Yeah. I mean, with the selling elves into slavery, betraying King Kalen.
Yeah, it's the thing of like, do the ends justify the means? I mean, it's like in this point with him, it's like no. As far as story wise, he's just a complete ass.
Hmm.
But battle wise, I only used him in like one playthrough, and I think he fits. I can't remember his playthrough exactly. I think he's more of a damage dealer and everything, but he aggroes a lot for the most part.
Right.
So
I mean,
I'm more willing to put him in
he's
like Percy D.
I can see that. I kind of want to do C, just because he is an interesting character. Uh,
So are we gonna also talk about spoilers like if you keep him alive and everything?
I kind of don't want to. We can talk about it, but I don't want to rate him based on that because it should just be the game that he's in as a companion.
True. I was also trying to think like just character wise if that was something.
He does
Uh,
he does grow, and I guess he kind of. I mean, there's no redemption for what he did to the elves, but
there isn't that's the only thing that's very bumping him down to D
yeah,
is the fact that he did slavery. I'm like, that's automatic D. Actually, that's more automatic F, but everything else slightly redeemed you.
well, we shouldn't rank them just on how good of a person they are. This is about what kind of a companion they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with D. We'll give him a high D. We'll put everyone else below him.
Yeah, all right.
Any other D characters can probably go below him. All right. So who's next? Who's next? Uh,
If just based off origins, we have who was the next companion after that? You had well, we could go with Oghren if you want to go with next characters
sure.
as far as warriors wise.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So just based off his gameplay, he he's a tank, but at the same time he's not even a tank. He's a damage dealer, but at the same time, if you don't build him right, he's very squishy.
Is he? I've never had him be squishy.
So because like and also because I don't have him in my party a lot because he's usually I think he uses an axe most of the time. He's never in my party very much because I'm the damage dealer.
That makes sense. And plus, you already have Alistair to be the tank, so that's true.
So I
Uh,
don't have much experience with him.
I bring him along sometimes, and I think he's a good tank. Um, I like the having a combo of him and Alistair, but I typically don't bring him along because he doesn't have a lot of interesting things to say.
True. I mm, I think he's better. Well, are we talking about just Oghren from Origins right now?
Yeah, just right now.
So the only quest I definitely remember for Oghren, besides like the one where you go into the deep roads, is his quest where he meets his soon-to-be wife, which I can't remember her name offhand right now. And that's the only quest. That's the only two quests I can remember with him as far as story-wise. Other than that, he doesn't contribute that much to the overall arching story. But when you're like with him in camp and everything, he actually does talk. It's more he's just a drunk that's always falling down, and
That,
that's his stick.
yeah, I mean, there's some comedy there. The
Overall,
one scene that stands out to me though is at the end. If you build up his friendship enough, and you're getting your endgame goodbyes, he says you took a drunken disgrace of from Orzammar and made him a soldier again.
that I do like that. You do get that redemption with him a bit, so I do like that aspect of him.
Hmm.
And I honestly I've seen a lot of other people like don't like Oghren for the most part, but I don't have anything against Oghren. He's mostly funny. He's actually very like as far as like character wise, he's easy to talk to. He doesn't offend very much like other dwarves. Like they're very much like stoic, and Oghren isn't pretty much like that. He's very easygoing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess I don't really have any strong feelings one way or the other on him, so I guess C tier?
Yeah, C seems about right.
Alright. Now, how about an Awakening?
Awakening. The only thing that really I will bump him down for is the fact that he kind of abandoned his wife and kid. That's literally when I
Yeah.
first heard that I was like, Oghren, no, man. And then he takes up the joining, and now he's gonna die a lot sooner. So at that point, I'm like, well, that's just horrible. And then if you don't play correctly, he ends up either dead or doesn't go back to his wife and kids. So I think that's what's worse about it.
Yeah, I agree. That's a bad thing to do.
Yeah. Again, the only thing that redeems him is that at the very end he starts having a better relationship with both of them. So I'm like, if you do that correctly, then he pretty much stays, pretty much C tier.
Yeah. I do like that I was gonna say he's loyal, but then, well,
Yeah,
he did
he
kind
leaves his
of.
life.
He leaves his wife, but he's loyal to the warden.
Yeah, which I do appreciate, and that's cool. Great. It's also because it's cool to have like a party member from Origins in Awakening, which is cool. But I just wish he would have took a better route to get there.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been nice if he continued to grow instead of just kind of reverting back to what he was.
Yeah, which I don't think we hear much about Oghren after Awakening either. So I would like to hear what happens to him.
Yeah, me too.
But
Let's see. All right, who's next? I kind of want to I don't want to just go in order of the games. I want to mix it up a little. So
All right.
let's do Sigrun, the other dwarf in Awakening.
Oh, okay. Sigrun.
I like how I like her perky attitude and how it contrasts with the life that she lives.
Despite that she's dead, I guess.
She's dead. She spends her whole life watching her friends actually die and fighting Darkspawn, and yet she's still perky. She's fun. I like being around her.
She does bring a very joyous mood around everybody, considering the fact that your companions in Awakening are kind of mostly gloomy, except for like Oghren.
Mm-hmm.
So she does bring a little life to it, even though that's kind of hypocritical. What's the word?
Hypocritical?
Yeah, or contradictory to what she is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like, and she's often actually a very good rogue for the most part, because she reminds me. What's the character from the Stolen Throne that Merrick partners with for a while?
The spy?
Is it the spy or wait, it was the Silent Sister? Thinking the correct one?
Oh no, that's in the Calling.
Oh yeah, it's the colony. So I kind of imagine like that's for some reason that's what I embody, what she kind of embodies for me, even though she talks a lot more than a
Mm-hmm.
Silent Sister would.
Well, obviously. I kind of want to give her a B tier.
Yeah, I do like her. Actually she's one of the few female actually the only female dwarf companion you ever get.
Yeah,
What's that?
she is full of personality. We'll get to some of these others on the list that don't have so much personality.
Uh,
All right. Who do you want to do next?
let's see. What is? I don't want to do. Actually, since I want to do Rogue, let's go with Nathaniel.
Nathaniel Howe. I really appreciate him.
So I actually love Nathaniel because he starts off as an antagonist toward you for a
Mm-hmm.
good reason, especially if you play a male Kuzlin.
Yeah.
But I love his progression and everything and how he pretty much becomes loyal and respectful at the end of this. Like I love Nathaniel's story arc. Just in the awakening alone, it's amazing.
I absolutely agree. And he's very stoic, but you can also tell that he feels very deeply for the people around him and for the world.
And it's also the fact that the more you kind of get to know him, he kind of has that sarcastic kind of personality where
He
he jokes with a
does.
lot of characters,
Yeah,
which
I
I
like that.
appreciate.
I like that. He's a very well-rounded character, I think.
Even like his, I guess what was his side story where he where you see his sister and everything, which
Hmm.
again I always find funny because the sister mentions you as a male cousin, how you're supposed to like marry him or whatever.
Well, I didn't want to marry you either. That's great.
It's, but his interactions are just really funny. So I love Nathaniel. So he also I don't think I took him out my party ever when he was in my initial playthrough of Awakening.
Mm. Yeah, I think so. I think same here. He was just always there. Yeah,
So
I want to say either B or A.
I was almost thinking S because he almost becomes like a second brother in Awakening.
I would
So I could say
agree.
A.
Well, let's give him a high A. Maybe we'll change that later, but
Yeah.
let's give him a high A. All right. Let's do a Dragon Age 2 companion. We haven't done one yet. Varric?
Varric, that's okay. Easy. Varric is probably like the easiest companion you can ever rank in this thing.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean, just from like the moment you start DA2 and you just hear Varric, automatically it's a win
Hmm.
because of his storytelling.
Yes, totally. I remember my first playthrough. He just kind of comes out of nowhere, and he's so suave and so suave. But I didn't want to. I didn't trust him. I was like, you're kind of sketchy. But he comes through, and he proves to be a true friend to both Hawke and the Inquisitor. And I want to put both Varrics up in the
Yeah,
S tier.
I think he only gets better. That's the ridiculous thing. He doesn't degrade. He always has the talent soldier and everything. Like just how you see him with Hawke and how he progresses with the Inquisitor and everything. He doesn't, I think, flatline. He doesn't degrade with time. He just stays where he is, or he gets better. And I think that's
Exactly.
amazing for a character.
Exactly. I love that he can go through a character arc in DA2, and then they continue that. See, unlike Oghren, where he just kind of reverts back to what he was.
Yeah. And also, you gotta mention, like, dude, it's Varric with Bianca, and he's just an iconic dwarf, especially with the
Yes.
chest. Like, if you cover up that chest there, something's wrong with you.
Yes, he is very much a brother to the main characters.
So,
All
also,
right.
I need him to voice every Dragon Age game now. I don't care. He needs to do the intro.
Yes, voice acting is terrific for him. All right, let's just put Bethany right up there. And
I do not
all right,
disagree with that.
next character. Let's do Carver next.
Carver. I'm gonna be honest, I hate Carver so
Yeah, me too.
much.
I want to put him in D tier. See, I mean, first of all, in order for him to even be a companion, Bethany has to die, and so
Which I don't.
that's points off right there.
So okay, even even in like the playthrough I have on my channel and everything, I make it to where I'm a mage, but modded to where Bethany stays alive.
Yes, I agree. I have a video for that too, but Bethany, the game just seems so much. The story seems so much more impactful
Yeah.
if Bethany is there.
And which I think sucks because I think that what Bioware's canon when your Hawk is what a mage, right? And
I
so it
think
means
so.
Carver is alive.
Yeah, but
And then
even compared to Bethany, Carver doesn't really have much personality. He doesn't even do very much.
he whines a lot. Like
He
people want to say
does.
Alistair whines. No, Carver is worse because one, he pins everything against Hawk, no matter what it is. Like he's just against his brother or sister every time, and he doesn't seem like he gets a redeeming factor for the most part.
I guess they kind of try to toss one in at the end.
But that's the thing. It's the variant. It's like after what there's 3 years between each arc almost. Like
Yeah.
what 6 years plus, and this goes on since they were children. Carver has always had resentment against Hawk or Bethany, and he just doesn't really get over it. I'm like, that's your sibling. You should have some kind of mutual understanding or something at some point.
Yeah, I can appreciate what they tried to do with having him be, that sibling rival, but it didn't feel compelling to me.
Also, if you don't take him to Deep Roads, he becomes a Templar. Like, what the
Yeah,
hell, man?
yeah, that was weird.
I'm
I
like,
guess they,
that's just
they just needed
that's
an
backhanded.
excuse. They needed an excuse to get rid of him, and that was not a good one.
I don't like Carver. He's definitely the worst type of character in TA2.
In the world of Thetis, he does get a little bit of good backstory, and I appreciate that. But I mean, just in the game, you don't really get much.
No, I don't like Carver.
All right. Let's see. Let's do another Inquisition one. The Iron Bull. His face is kind of standing out to me. So,
Yeah, being the only, well, not the only, but a very muscular Qunari on it.
son of a bitch! I didn't put Sten on here.
You forgot Sten. I was like,
I
wait,
forgot
I'm like, I
Sten.
can't.
Damn it! I knew I was forgetting someone.
I was like, he's not the only Qunari, so.
All right, we'll do him after Bull, and we'll just we'll pencil him in up here.
Iron Bull, like honestly, I would say if he's probably at least an A because he's just so charismatic.
He is, yeah. Game.
He,
Go ahead.
I was like, you can't hate him even when you first meet him. He's like upfront, I am a spy. I'm like, you can't beat that kind of introduction from him.
I agree. And he is loyal to a fault, whether it's to the Qunari or to the Inquisitor. He will be loyal.
I say he's also loyal to like a cause. Like once he sees something wrong, he goes for it. He doesn't care what's it against. So he's pretty much like one of those few people who are just pretty much stand up. He's a stand up person to where he sees something wrong, he's going to act. And even to like the Chargers, he took like a bunch of pretty much misfits in, pretty much no different than like any like our protagonists for the most part. And he sticks with his party.
Yeah. And even now that I'm thinking about it, like he talks about turning himself into the re-educators, and that was always kind of a decision to me that rubbed me the wrong way because I know what they did. They brainwashed him. But it also does kind of speak to his loyalty and his commitment to a good cause. He felt himself slipping, and he didn't want to become a savage that hurt people like the other Talvashot he saw. So he went in and said, "Fix me."
Yeah,
I don't know if
I
that was.
can't.
I don't think that was the right decision, but it does speak to his loyalty and his
Yeah,
commitment.
I never hated that he said that because again, it speaks more about how committed he is to a cause. Because I'm like,
Hmm.
he can't. Again, he's also because of his loyalty, because of everything you said, he will re-educate himself to again commit himself to that cause to fight against, against whatever it is, dark, evil magic or anything. So I can't even hate him for considering that. So
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. So good A tier, right up with Nathaniel.
yeah.
Um, all right. So Sten, we'll just imagine he's there. In the editing, I'll put his picture up. Let's talk about Sten.
So I Sten is very neutral. The only thing that redeems him about Sten is that he loves cookies, which I'm like, all right, cookie brother. But other than that, like in Origins, he's for the most part blunt, but at the same time he's kind of a very stale character
Mm,
because of who he is, which I don't dislike because that's your first introduction to Canary. But he it feels like his growth is very stagnant because he's pretty much committed to the Canary and everything. So he doesn't grow as much as you probably would expect a character to, but fits his character and what he's supposed to be there.
right. That's true. He doesn't. His character doesn't really change that much that we see. It does in the extended media. It implies that he did grow
Yeah,
a lot, but just over the course of the game, like you said, he's very stagnant.
I
Uh,
would say the only thing that I might throw like a stuff is that when you get his sword back, he shows respect and everything. I think that's a very good improvement.
I
But
think
again,
that's
that's more
one
to
of the.
your protagonist.
I think that's one of the only two times in the games he smiles.
Yeah, that's,
Someone pointed that out. Yeah. Uh, that is great. I like how he does come to respect the warden, even though at the beginning, he's very critical of how the warden is handling everything. But by the end, he does respect him, or him or her.
yeah.
And
So
with the end game goodbyes, he even says, "You have carried us this far. Do not doubt that." And I appreciate that. It makes it feel like it's just kind of he was exercising tough love.
yeah. Also, I guess for the most part, I guess you can't give him much character development because not because he's just Canary and like he's with the Cune, but because in you kind of resolve a lot of things already when you first meet him. He already knows like most of the members of his party has already been killed. He lost his sword and everything, so he's only there to fulfill the duty he had, and he even stays beyond that duty and actually helps you.
Hmm.
So I think for that he's good. I think I'll rank him higher than Oghren, but
Yeah, I want to say B tier.
lower.
I want to say B
Yeah,
tier.
yeah, I'll give you that.
All right, B.
Also, you can't hate a guy who loves cookies. So,
No, of course not. All right. Let's see who's next. Who's next? You should pick one.
uh, oh my God, let's see. I
Let's do a
want to.
mage. We haven't done any. We've only done one mage.
That's true. I would say Merrill then.
All right, Merrill.
And only would say Merrill because she was very controversial to me when I first played it. I was like, I might just kill you.
Really?
I and it was weird because I'm like, I don't know why. Because her overall personality is fine. Like she's very, for the most part, perky and everything. She's very solemn, which I like. But at the same time, her decisions are just like you're kind of an airhead for making the decisions you did,
Yeah.
and
See,
it's just weird.
that didn't occur to me until my, uh, I guess third playthrough maybe, because on the first one I was just so transfixed with how adorable she was. But then as I played more and more, I was like, you are making a lot of bad decisions.
She's really dumb about it. Especially, I understand her reason because even though she's not actually, she's kind of a temporary companion in Origins if you play the
Yeah.
Elf Origin. But even then, like she messes with the Luvians and everything, and she tries to do a lot of things that just end up backfiring a lot of times. Even to the point where if she really messes up or whatever, her entire clan is dead.
Yeah, she doesn't really. I mean, she has a lot of responsibility on her shoulders. And I guess she looks she looks at rebuilding the Alluvion as part of her responsibility as keeper, but she's also kind of blind to the fact that her responsibility is also to helping the clan, and that might mean not restoring the Alluvion.
And don't get me wrong, the fact that she's trying to get like one of her friends back that disappear if you don't play like if you just kind of see like her from Origin's perspective, I understand it, but she's playing with things like she really doesn't 100% understand, and even to the point where you see her use blood magic. At this point, you don't pretty much know the consequences of that.
I
As far as
love.
like,
Sorry, just I love Hawke's description of that. If you choose one of the options after Marathari dies, spoiler alert. Uh, he says you tried to restore a mirror that kills people using magic you learned from a demon.
oh yeah, I do remember that. I was like, that pretty much squares away everything. Like, you are an idiot.
Yeah.
But again, now knowing what we know now about blood magic is like it's not all that bad. Just depends on the user, like any other magic.
Right.
But when you first play DA2, you're just like, again, I didn't have rose-colored glasses when Merrill. I'm just like, she is an idiot, but she's very cute and a lovable idiot.
Yeah. Ooh,
So
it's kind of hard to rank her. Maybe C tier.
I would say C. The only reason I would give her a B is because throughout the series she kind of learns and everything. So I will definitely rank her higher than Oghren because she does have slight progression. And I think it depends, like if we ever see Merrill again, how far along she's come.
Mm-hmm. I would really like to see that. I'd love to see how she's reacting to Solas and everything. Uh,
Unless she's really dumb and then she's joining Solas, which
oh, I don't know. God, I'm kind of on the fence on whether or not I can see her doing that. Well, let's talk about Solas then.
the A kid himself.
Yep. I appreciate. I appreciate his character. I like how he offers his wisdom to the Inquisitor
To a point.
to a point, because he does always have that ulterior motive.
I do appreciate Solas for like the character that he is and everything. I love how he's written. He's that character where like you can it's hard because you can 100% hate him or love him, or you can
Hmm.
just like literally just be right between there. And like, and at points, depending on how you play your game, that's how it kind of determines what you do, how his relationship is with you.
Right. It, it's
And
it's so hard to rank him. Go ahead.
I was like, I would say it's one of the most satisfying parts if you play it is like you get to punch Sodas once. I'm like, okay, that feels very satisfactory because I'm like, I want to punch you just once.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people say he's condescending. I've never had him be condescending to me, but I have seen it on YouTube. But see, I always had him with me because I appreciated his insight on the events of the game. So it's hard to rank him knowing what we know now.
Yeah,
If I were to rank him after DAI but not seeing the final scene, I might put him in A tier, but
uh,
including the final scene and Trespasser, uh,
that's hard. You could either put him higher or lower because of that revelation.
you want to give him like a low B?
I would say B. He's a great character. I love even the fact that he's very mysterious. You kind of trying to figure him out. I think that's what makes him amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't ever hate him, but it's like, again, there's a lot of characters I hate way more than Solas, but I love his character because of how he's written, and you always debating like should you hate or like him.
Right.
So I think he's amazing for that.
Well, speaking of tricksters, how about Blackwall?
So Blackwall is one of those characters I think is he's very noble and he has a lot of honor in the fact that he lies about who he is for the most part, but I think it's ultimately for a good reason.
I agree. He takes a dead man's name to do the things to redeem himself, to do the things that Tom Rainier couldn't.
And also like to inspire other people to continue, even to the point he's bolstering soldiers for the wardens themselves. So
Hmm.
he's doing everything for a great cause. And even when he's found out, he doesn't shy away from it. He goes and confronts his crimes. So I can never say Blackwall's ever 100% a character that you should ever hate. He's literally just one of those. He's pretty much what a knight should be in every sense of the word.
Yeah. He
So
he admits his mistakes and he vows to do better, and I guess that's all anyone can ask for.
so and also let's just say even like when you first encounter him, he does save your life. So if he's not there, who knows? You end up with an arrow in your head.
And he's loyal. He does give good advice. He's speaking from experience.
Also, probably the best beard out of anyone in the game.
Well, of course. Yeah,
So
I think he's got a lot going for him. I want to give him a high B. Because
I can see that.
he still lied. But
Again, a good reason.
good reason, yeah.
So,
All right.
yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Let's knock Anders off here because he's bothering me being there twice.
Which Anders?
Let's do Awakening first.
Okay, Awakening. Okay, I love Anders in Awakening. He's comedic. He's funny. He has a lot of quips, and you need that, especially in Awakening. Actually, especially in Dragon Age in general. I love Awakening Anders.
Mm-hmm. See,
Even to the point.
I never really cared for him personally.
Even to the point where you talk to him about, his hatred of like the circles, the fact that he's run away numerous times. I think I love Anders for that because Anders never let the world pretty much, sour his world. He was always optimistic and everything and looked on the brighter side and wanted to help.
That's true.
I really love Awakening Anders because he's very, very much like a light that you want to have around. But also, he was pretty much, I think I had him as my main mage in Awakening the entire time because of that, because his personality was just amazing to have around.
Well, the alternative is Velanna.
We'll get to Velanna. We'll get to her because
See, Anders, he never really impressed me in Awakening. I guess, maybe my view is a little tainted. I played DA2 first.
See, I was about to say that I played DA2 first as well.
Oh, okay.
And that's why. It's
See,
a stark contrast.
He just never really stood out to me, I guess. You want to do B?
I would actually give him a B. That's actually perfect.
All right. Above or below Blackwall?
I would say probably below Blackwall because I like Blackwall just a little bit more still.
Mm-hmm. All right. DA2 Anders.
I hate him. I hate him so much. That's why I love Awakening Anders. He's like, his personality dipped so hard from the joyful optimist to this negative. I'm like, I want to kill you every minute.
Having examined the character of Anders in DA2 and how he was changed because of his merger with Justice, I can appreciate the story even if I don't appreciate the character. He is kind of a dick.
He's an extremist. Immediately he's an extremist. All Justice did was take what was in him and just accelerate it. And it was all the negative parts. That's the only problem.
Right. Well,
I can't justify. Every time there's Anders in DA2, I'm like, he does not stay alive. Only once did I do that. I'm like, I regret keeping you alive.
If he had just been a little less extreme, I feel like he could have done a revolution the right way. He could have been great.
Think about it. He's the whole reason the Mage Templar War erupted like it did. Literally, why it erupted like it did.
And then, I don't remember experiencing this myself, but I do remember reading about this. If you keep him alive and bring him in your party, and you see the blood mages and abominations running rampant, he's like, I never wanted this.
Yeah, he does. Because I had that playthrough.
Did you not think this through at all?
That's why I hate him. He didn't. He just acted most of the time. He had plans. He also used you as Hawke to gather the ingredients for the bomb. I'm like, dude, that's just crap.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I want to give him a D tier because he's got. I want to say he's got some redeeming qualities. I can't think of any at the moment, but
I see none. Also, I want to know what happened to the. He probably mentions it, but I don't remember what happened to the cat you give him in Awakening either. I don't remember what happens to it.
The wardens took him.
Okay.
They wouldn't let
That's
him
probably
keep
for the best. That's
Though
probably for the best, though.
that's one of the reasons he ran away, because they took his cat. But yeah, even if when you first meet him, he starts flirting with you. If you say, "I don't want you thinking of me like that," he's like, "Everyone's trying to control my thoughts." I'm like, "Don't be dramatic, man."
Well, that's the thing. So I played DA2 first, and I went to Awakening, and I was like, I hated it. I really hated this. I was like, I didn't want to see Anders like this again. Especially when I went back to DA2 after Awakening, I was like, I can't even be excited for you because I know what you become.
Yeah. I mean, he's a tragedy. He is. I appreciate the story, and that's kind of why I want to give him a D, I guess, because I
He
appreciate.
pushed the story forward, yeah, but just at the expense of like
But like
such a good
his
character.
character
Yeah,
is a tragedy in itself.
that's a
All
shame.
right,
I like
low
Anders.
D. How about Justice then?
Justice, I think Justice is a lot like Sten. He's very stoic for the most part, so you don't get very much from him. Although I love the lore that you get from a spirit being in your party. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you don't ever really get that until maybe Cole and Inquisition, but Justice is like a pure spirit, and the fact of how lyrium affects him and just the lore that he gives you makes you want him in your party to learn more, but he doesn't give you much of that,
Right.
unfortunately.
But he does have one quote that I actually find myself thinking about a lot, and that is, "A world so filled with beauty that beauty goes unnoticed." And
I, that, that's actually a good one.
yeah, I think that's an important line. I think that's something more people should think about more.
Also, his even like the personal quest he have with him, what he finds with is it Christoph?
I think
I
it's
think is the
Kristoff.
name.
Yeah.
When you find like his wife and everything, and I think that also hits him as well because he's in this dead man's body. He has to confront, this man's wife. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a very touching moment because she also lets him continue until, you know, the body actually ends up, falling.
Right.
So I think his story is very good. I actually would probably put him like around C, maybe a little B.
All right, let's give him a high C then. Yeah, yeah, that seems right.
Yeah.
Uh, actually, does it feel right? Because he's below Solas, but I kind of don't want to put him on the same level as Blackwall and Anders and Sigrun though.
I think C is right because I don't think he is as high as was again because he hasn't had too much compelling character. Even if you partner like Justice Anders,
Mm-hmm.
even then I'm just like that price fine because he's right between the Anders I like and the Anders I hate. So I'm just like that's probably right there.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
meets the middle.
Yeah. I guess he just doesn't get enough to do in Awakening for him to be
Yeah.
higher. All right. Let's see who's next. Who's next? What do you want to do?
I was about to say not Sten, Shale, because
Shale.
Shale is. I like the story of Shale and how she becomes what she is, even like her backstory, but she doesn't get much.
That's true. Um,
Although she is very sarcastic and
yeah,
which is
she's very funny and she's fun. She's a good character to have around. I think this
even,
story is a lot. I think playing through Origins is made a lot better with her present.
it also makes the Anvil quest a lot more meaningful because you get the Golem perspective from it and how she just talks about it and her memories coming back.
Yeah.
So I love that. And her tie-in to the Calding and like the Stolen Throne was also impressive.
Yeah. I especially liked
Uh,
her in Asunder.
oh yeah, she is. Although I can never forget. The only reason, one thing that always stands is the pigeon thing. She hates pigeons. I can never like not remember this.
Uh,
The question is she's like even if you think of her as a dwarf, is she a better dwarf than Oghren or is she?
I would say yeah. I kind of want to give her. Where did I want to put her? I want to say above, right above Justice.
I would give it because I like her personality a lot more.
Yeah, she's fun.
I kind of actually hope you see her again at some point because she does go on a quest to maybe get her original body back. But
Hmm. Yeah, me too. I think she would be great, especially if we learn more about the Titans and Kalsharok. Just her
Oh,
perspective would be great.
she should definitely come back for these for that. Like that would be amazing just to see her pop in just for that sequence.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go with dog.
That's an easy S tier.
Yeah.
What can you say it wrong against the Mabari?
Always there for you. Always by your side. Just perfect
And
companion.
technically your first companion too, so depending on what
If you
origins
play a
again,
human.
but yeah. I guess that's why I'm always drawn to him because my main thing is always a Kuzan, so I love
Mhm.
the Mabari.
The only thing I don't like about the Mabari is that once you reach max level, he has skill points that you can't use for anything. And they don't ever go away.
Yeah, that is true, but I'm not sure what else you want to do with a Mabari.
Yeah. All right. How about Zevran? In my first playthrough, he betrayed me. And I just assumed that was just a thing that happened. And so for my next 2 or 3 playthroughs, I just killed him on the road. So,
Yeah, well, do you need like I can't remember? Do you need max persuasion to actually get him to with you?
no, you just need friendship.
What's the French? Okay. Oh man, I don't.
That
So
said,
wait, what playthrough did you actually get recruit him then?
after it was after a couple that I actually recruited him and got to keep him.
Oh man, I don't. Let me see. I think I only killed him like my second playthrough because I was going for like a kill everyone thing.
Yeah, no, my first playthrough he betrayed me with when his ex-boyfriend showed up, and then I
Oh.
just assumed that was part of the game, so I just didn't bother recruiting him after that. Uh,
I Zevran. I don't have any sour ideas of Zevran. He's very flirtatious, which is just funny.
it's funny.
Is
I don't appreciate how forward he is, personally. It's funny, but it's like it's also a little
he's
bit creepy.
he's okay. He does come on very strong, so I will give you that. But his character again, I think he's very lighthearted. You can't hate Zevran at all, especially you kind of also I love like his backstory with the if you give him like the boots and everything. That the
Yeah,
fact that it reminds him like the boots his mother gave him and everything else. He has a very good backstory.
I agree. Yeah, and he is, despite his betrayal of me personally, I do know that he is a very loyal person if you earn his loyalty.
Yeah, and he continues to fight against the crows. I think which is also real cool because he actually leaves the crows. Something I don't he didn't even want to actually be a part of.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
think it's
I respect that. I want to give him a B tier.
yeah he's very likable. I don't hate Zevran at all. I can't.
All right, now how about the other flirtatious one, Isabella?
So I love Isabella. Like hands down, I really love her. She's
Yeah.
my second favorite romance in all of the Dragon Age.
Really?
She is.
Who's your first?
My first is Morrigan, hands down.
Oh goodness. All right, we're gonna have to do her next then. Yeah, no, I don't really care for Isabella. I think I don't care for how forward she is, just like Zevran.
The
And
difference is she's a pirate, which I love that from a pirate.
okay, yes, pirates are cool and everything, but also she kind of screws Kirkwall over in a big way.
She does. She really does. Even though, so I love that as far as like she messed up and she can't leave. The same with the fact that the Canary can't leave. But I think that's played very well for the most part because you don't know they interact or intersect at all until like pretty much the very end of that.
Hmm.
And I love that storyline for her because if you play it right, she comes back. She turns over a new leaf. If you don't, then well, you can turn it over to the Canary, which is kind of a dick move.
Yeah,
Or it's I
but
think like her scenario is very amazing as far as her storyline goes.
I do think I think the story's better if she doesn't come back because I mean, she only comes back after a lot of people have already died. So it's like, okay, I'm glad you realized your mistake, but this was kind of a big mistake.
It was. I'm not saying that what she did was wrong, but at the same time, like I kind of expect that from a pirate. Like,
Yeah,
no point does a pirate should care. So I'm like, and also she, every time you see her or talk to her, especially like in the Fade or anything, the only thing she talks about, she wants to get back to the sea. She wants to get back to the ship. This is what she wants. Like that's her desire. And I can't blame her for that because she's honest about what she wants.
that's true.
So
But she's
if I,
also she's kind of willing to let Castillon go to get that ship, and Castillon is a slaver.
yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she's great, but at the same time, like she freed a bunch of the slaves too. She has
True.
this contradictory thing about her where she knows what's right and she will do it in a moment, but at the same time, she also wants to follow her dreams. I think Isabella is that very good idea of pretty much everybody's personality where you have to fight with what you know is naturally right as opposed to like what your own natural goals and dreams are, and you got to sacrifice one or the other. And she does that balance. Like she teeter totters because that's I think what people are. I think
Mm-hmm.
Isabella's a very good idea of what a natural person is.
All right, that's fair. All right. All right. I want to say B tier,
I'm okay with B. I personally love her
but
as A, but
where? Where on B tier?
I say above Anders. I like her a lot more than Anders personally.
Okay. Ah,
Also,
feels a little.
also
I
in
feel.
Origin, she's the first person you probably have a threesome with if you go that
Ugh.
route.
I kind of don't want to have a threesome with her, because I know where she's been.
True, very true.
Um, it feels dirty, but I'll give it to you for a B. There. All right, Morrigan. I never cared for her in Origins.
Right.
She was mean. She was very mean. And yes, she gets better. She does have a character arc if you befriend her. But I feel like you shouldn't have to do that to be a good everyone should just be nice to each other. You don't.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So I I love her for the exact opposite reason. I love her because she's mean. Like she goes in on Anders or Alistair all the time and berates him. I'm just like, I love the attitude. It also might be because who you recruit later and is pretty much a complete 180 to her personality. But I love her attitude, and that might be because I just love like the bite that she has, the fact that she won't back down, the fact that she's grown up with this the entire time. So I'm like, I love that she has that fight in her. I'm like, and I can't hate that
All
about
right.
her.
All right, I can respect that. Uh I'm guessing you want to put her in A.
I would put her in S, but because I know you, I know a lot of people don't like Morrigan because of that same reason.
Mm.
But also, if I think about like story wise, she plays a very good part in it, regardless if it's from Origins to all the way up to Inquisition.
You know,
You
with just
you
how
feel the effects of her.
yeah, she's a very iconic character. I mean, she's on the box of DA Origins. Uh I can't go any higher than A, but I'll get it to you. I guess above Bull.
I could see her being below Bull or above Bull because she is. Personally, I know Bull's personality is a lot more likable, and he is a good guy.
All right, all right, we'll put her there. All right, let's do another Inquisition one. We got a bunch of those. How about Cassandra?
Okay, Cassandra, I love Cassandra.
Hmm.
If it wasn't for Isabella, she would probably be my second favorite romance. I teeter with her a lot,
Yeah,
but she's also very dry a lot of times.
she is very dry, but that's also kind of part of her charm, and it makes it so much better when you get the scenes where she's being, a romantic.
Yeah, and also it's funny because she doesn't know how to play it. She's one of those people who like she doesn't know how to act in these situations. I think it's very funny.
Right, and that wouldn't be nearly as impactful if she wasn't such a dry, serious character. Uh,
But also she's a favorite of mine because before Inquisition came out, I wanted her as a companion,
Me
and I
too.
don't, and I think it's because of not because you see her in DA2, but because also like after you watch like the movie with her, I loved her in that, and I was like, I want more of her, so much more of her.
She is great. I do think she would be one of my favorite romance options if there was more of it. A lot of the romances in Inquisition,
They get cut short.
they get cut short. Some of them had a lot more content than others. And sadly,
Like
she was one of them.
I am disappointed. Like I think her romance get cut like the shortest out of a lot of them because a lot of them you can marry some of the character companions. You have a very good ending. With her, is kind of like okay, there it is. And I think the only thing you get in after Trespasser is when you're looking off in the distance, she just comes back and that's it,
Yeah, there's not
which is
much
kind
to
of
it.
sad.
It's sad, but I don't know if we should take points off for that.
No, like, that's not against her as a character. That's just more of like
Yeah.
timing, I guess, constraints for her romance.
I kind of want to say A.
I say A because also I love the fact that she loves Varric's novels and it's
Yeah.
kind of embarrassing.
I'm putting her ahead of Morgan. I don't care.
That's fine.
She's great. Again, my first playthrough of Inquisition, she was always there. She was the person who founded the Inquisition. I wanted her by my side, much the same way that I wanted Alistair by my side all the time.
That's actually very true. I kept her in my party a lot of times. If there was ever a time I take her out, it's because of probably like just to get dialogue.
Right.
So if we go with the right hand of the divine, we might as well go with the left hand.
Okay, Leliana.
So, how did you think about Leliana when you first met her?
She was my first romance option, and I knew that
Immediately.
Immediately, like when I first started playing Origins, I looked up romance options, and there were two women, and one of them was Morrigan. So I was like, all right, Leliana, you win. No, I did. I actually, it wasn't quite that simple, but yeah, I do really love her. I love her faith. I love how she had a very turbulent backstory.
Yeah.
Her mother died. She was raised by Lady Cecilia. She became a bard. Her lover betrayed her. Now she's in Ferelden, and she's a Chantry sister. It's lots of ups and downs there.
I would say when I first met her and I was like, she's a change sister, I immediately facepalmed because like, oh crap, I have a sister with me. No, because I am no, and this is like no offense to anything about like anything, but at the same time, like if you were like one of the people like just going to do the chanting time, like I'm gonna leave you on the side the entire game. But overall, like she, again, because of like my first romance with Morrigan, she's like a complete 180 to Morrigan. I was like, this is a very like angel and devil type of situation, which I like.
Yeah,
But
that's
Leliana's,
that's a good way of putting it. I like that.
I think that's because that's a very good trope in a lot of things, but I love that in the Origins because the more I got to spend with Leliana, the more she grew on me, the more like her personality shined through, and the fact that even her interactions with Morgan himself was very like, she wanted to get Morgan in a fancy dress, put her in fancy shoes and everything. I was like, I love their interactions, and
Yeah.
Leliana was very, always somewhat hopeful and everything. She was that beacon for the
Yeah,
most part in Origins.
She had some of the best banter in the game. I got to give her an A tier, just above Nathaniel, unless you want to go S.
I would go with S because also her again because she's been in the games for so long, her character arc is amazing. Like how it just goes up and down at some points. So I can't. She has one of, like the best character arcs. I think she actually has the best character arc in the entire game because she's been here so long. I just
Alright.
see some Vivienne.
I was gonna just not say anything about it.
So okay, before you do that, I don't disagree. She's a horrible character. She's pretty much she's the B of all characters for the most part. But she voices her opinion and she is a very good advisor when it comes down to it.
I disagree.
It-
I think her. See, now Josephine is a good advisor because she gives her
she's-
opinion, but she's also respectful when other people have opinions too.
Yeah, she is. She's
And
a better advisor.
And she's willing to bend a little bit. She's willing to compromise. Vivienne is not.
So the reason I would this is the also reason I would put Vivienne as far as F and not so much like D or anything is because if she becomes divine, she is so strict.
She is a tyrant.
Like she just compresses everything. I'm just like, this is gonna blow up all over again.
Yeah, exactly. She is unwilling to hear the other side, it seems. And a lot of people will point out, you know, her backstory. This is the way she is. This is why she is the way she is. But just like with Morrigan, that doesn't really matter to me. You should just be a good person anyway.
Well, the difference between like her and Morrigan is the fact that you kind of know Morrigan's backstory. Like she grew up with Flemmet, she was in the Kakari Wilds being hunted and everything, this and that. With Vivienne, you don't get that much. Like she grew up, like she was in a very prominent circle and everything, even though like the circle was not great. The fact that she rose herself up and she's in a very prominent position, even when you meet her, like she is like the court mage to Selene and everything. So I'm just like, you should be more, I guess, tactful and everything, and be able to deliberate a lot better than she does.
Mm-hmm.
But her attitude doesn't fit like the role that she was presented, because it seems like she was just like got there with an iron fist and she doesn't bend to anybody, which is kind of horrible, considering the fact that you're, especially in my idea, like you're a mage, you should understand like the plight of a lot of characters and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, she makes her arguments, and I can kind of see where she's coming from, but I feel like she's getting the wrong lesson out of it.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I would love to. I want to like Vivienne, but at the same time, it's like Vivienne.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
But she makes it hard.
All right, now we can either go for the polar opposite of Vivienne, which is Wynne, or we can talk about Sebastian, because we were just talking about Leliana with the Chantry stuff. What do you want to do?
I say go with Sebastian.
All right. I can see why people find him annoying, but I like him. He's a good guy, and he has a very realistic struggle when he's torn between, being
A prince and
a prince,
Chantry, a brother.
Living a humble life. For some people, that decision might be very easy, but I actually like that it's so difficult for him and it takes its toll on him.
So I will say this: the choir boy, I did not like at first, because I was like, even though he was trying to be humble and everything, he also came off as kind of pompous at times.
Fair enough.
But the more, again, and this goes with most of the companions, the more time you spend with them, you kind of like grow on them, or they don't grow on you. But I think Sebastian, because of like his role, especially, I would say getting Sebastian in my game was difficult, because I did not know DLC and everything. Because I was like, how the hell do you get this character? And then he ends up being a little like more like flat. I'm just like, okay, whatever. But I do appreciate his character and everything. It's just that he doesn't stand out as opposed to a lot of other companions you get in any of the games. Like he's there, but he doesn't always seem like he needs to be. I think that's what kind of faults Sebastian.
Part of that might be coming in Act 2, when Act 1 was so much longer than both of the others.
Yeah, that doesn't help him at all. You don't get enough chance to kind of build with him as much. Because at that point, you already kind of know what your set companions are. Like, this is my team. Why am I going to put you in there?
Right. But I do like him. Again, I think it's a very human struggle that he has. And a lot of people don't like how, at the end, he's like, if you don't kill Anders, then I will come back with the entire army of Starkhaven. That felt very realistic to me, because he just lost his home, all his friends, his mother figure.
Yeah.
Anders just murdered them all. So
also, because I don't blame him. Like I said, I hate DA2 Anders. So I'm just like, I'm with you. Stab this dude. I was never up against him.
Yeah, I get it. Like, if Kirkwall is gonna harbor Anders, then yeah, it's kind of fair that he wants to, get justice.
Yeah. Again, like, as far as like his plot line, he's very good as plot line wise. But as far as character, he doesn't build very much. So I will put him in C, and I'll probably say like, I would say probably below Merrill, because I like Merrill.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Although I will say this, for Sebastian, he has probably the most iconic no, other than like Darth Vader with the Maker no when a Chantry blows up, and I can't forget that about him.
Wait, what? I didn't understand that.
So when Chantry blows up, he literally is the one that falls down and says Maker's no.
Yeah. Oh, and okay. Yeah. Okay.
And I can't forget that. Yeah, so like it's like that kind of thing with Darth Vader And like
Yeah.
episode 3 knows, I'm like, I can't unsee that with him.
All right. Fair. I'm gonna put him above Merrill though because he doesn't cause as many problems.
That is true. Yeah, Merrill is problem. All right.
I mean, hey, she's my DA2 romance option, so I get it. But
Oh, I never romanced Merrill. Actually, now that I think about it.
uh, yeah, she's
No,
kind of she gets kind of
if I
crabby towards you if you
if
romance
I
her.
if I did, I don't remember it very well because I'm like, it was like a thing I did just to get the achievement. Also, she's pretty much like a little sister. I can't see her.
Yeah, no, I get that now, but
Yeah.
when I first played, it was different. Well, speaking of characters that seem a little bit younger, how about Sera?
Sera is Sera's definitely like that little sister or like that neighborhood friend you have who
Hmm.
always got you into trouble.
Yeah,
That's how I see her.
but you have a good time doing it.
That's what I mean. I love that. Even to the point of like sitting on the roof eating cookies with him is like, I love Sera because
Yeah,
she's just rambunctious.
yeah, and she's fighting for a good cause, even if she doesn't always go about it the best of ways. I
And she will always kind of stand up for like a principle of like the little person, and I love that.
hmm
She will always say if you aren't with the little person and you're with like the 1% or whatever, she hates that. And I 100% like agree with that fault, like with
yeah,
that idea. So like I can never go against Sarah with that. I'm like you're fighting for like the people who don't get hurt.
right. And yeah, she gets you into trouble, but it's not nearly as bad as some of these
Like
other
yeah,
characters. So I kind of want to put her right under Blackwall. That seem fair?
yeah. Arguably also, but it depends. Like so, I also did like a playthrough with a romance for her, and her romance is also just very nice and just
Yeah, it's
very
fun.
cute.
Okay, so what happened was we lost the last like 15, 20 minutes of the recording, so we're back the following day to do the rest of it. So, um, yeah, we're just really disappointed.
Try to even try to remember where people were. It's gonna be like, oh crap,
Yeah, all
we
right,
may drop her, go higher a tier.
all right. Let's go with Aveline. What do we want to say for her?
Aveline is definitely A tier, mainly because she's very blunt with you for the most part. She doesn't hold back, and she's always pretty much has your back, no matter what you're doing. Even though like even if you're like the sarcastic or the pretty much rogue hawk, and you go against a lot of things that she finds herself disappointed with you, but she's always have your back. So Aveline's very sturdy about that.
Yeah, I appreciate her sturdiness. She does end up kind of being like a rock for Hawk, in that she's always there to help him or her. Always has your back, even if she doesn't always agree with how you're handling things. And she's
Uh,
also there to always kind of keep you in line too.
I also think like the quest where you lose your mother. I think she also took it real hard because
Hmm
of how long she knows you. And I remember a scene with her after that was just very touching. So I think Aveline pretty much becomes like a pseudo big sister as well,
hmm
which makes her like really like just enjoy having her in your party most of the time.
Yeah, very strong character, strong woman. A woman-shaped battering ram.
Also, she's also very funny when she finally starts dating again. It's
That is
hilarious.
that is hilarious. Yes,
It's like a girl literally the first time she's trying to date and has no idea what they're doing.
it's a nice night for an evening.
And her banter between her and Isabella is always just funny.
Yeah, I love how they hate each other, but they love each other.
So Aveline definitely is A tier. I love.
Yeah. All right. Let's see who's next. Who's next? Let's do Sebastian. All right. So what are we thinking for him?
I can see him either C or B tier. So
Let's give him a high C. I'm gonna put him right above
I think
Justice.
yeah, that seems right. I think he's under Shale.
Yeah. All right. Who do we got next? I guess Dorian?
Dorian's easy A tier
Yeah.
because out of all the characters, he's very like open-minded to everything. He's very comfortable expressing himself. At the same time, he's willing to hear other opinions and other ideas on things. So he's not like narrow-minded to just say this is the only way to do things. He's vastly open to almost everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really admire his sense of purpose. You know, he gives up. He's not willing to compromise his ideals, because in Tevinter he could have had a very high class, great, easy life, but he didn't want that if he couldn't be who he was. And he goes to the south. He helps the Inquisition, fights against his former mentor to do it.
Also, I love the fact that he is Tevinter because you finally get to hear a perspective from a Tevinter mage and everything. Especially like again, as much as I love like the lore thing about like how different the chantries are, how the circles work. He brings in a lot of that, and he makes fun of it for the most part. He's
Yeah.
not exactly with it or against it, but he just makes fun of it, which makes it so much easier to just consume the information he's giving you.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate how he doesn't uh, agree with the Chantry, but he does still have faith in the Maker.
Yeah,
I,
he
th- I
also
yeah,
he respects a lot of people too. Like even when he meets the mother, even though he may his sarcasm and everything comes off a little rude, but he for the most part he respects pretty much everybody he comes across as well, which I think is awesome.
yeah. Until they're being kind of mean to him, he's good.
Yeah, which is understandable. But I
Mm.
think he overall he's tired. I think he'll probably be what next to Bull because granted him and
Yeah,
Bull are very similar if not combative with each other.
yeah. I love them. I kind of want to put him a little bit higher than Bull. He's got a yeah,
Charismatic.
yeah. He's got yeah. All right. Let's do Velanna.
Okay, so a lot of people hate Velanna,
Mm-hmm.
and I do not. I love Velanna. Like again, it's me and mean mages. I just love them. So I Velanna is amazing because she's very snappy, and she's not so much sarcastic. She's just very. She will never hold back, and she will always say what's on her mind, which I love and respect that with characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I love Velanna, especially she has good reason for like her anger and everything.
Yeah, it makes sense, and also she works with the wardens, you know, so she doesn't let that anger just completely blind her. You know, she's willing to work with humans for the common good.
Also, she also has one of my favorite kind of, I guess, introductions to her when she comes from the tree and everything,
Yeah.
or roots. And I thought her magic by itself was very unique at that time because I don't think you see anything like that. And she resembles what a pissed off wood elf would look like. So I love that as well because I do love elves.
Yeah. No, I agree. You could argue she gets off a little easy after she kills a bunch of human merchants, but
Well,
she thought they were responsible for killing her sister and the other members of her clan. So,
she
uh,
was tricked, like from like the talking darkspawn that tricked her and the humans. So she was deceived a lot of time
yeah,
about it, and she does feel remorse and everything later as more things progress. But I,
yeah,
she did a lot of horrible things. Will not deny that, but she does feel remorse and tries to make up for it.
yeah. And in the epilogue, which is not reliable at all, but in the epilogue, there's a part where a town is under attack by darks. A human town is under attack by darkspawn. She's the only Grey Warden around, and she defends the town. So, I do feel like she grows.
She's
Uh,
at least what C tier.
I want to say at least C. You want to put her ahead of Shale?
Yeah, because I do like her snappiness.
Yeah,
I do hope that we see her again because she's still looking for a sister, even if you beat the architect.
yeah. All right. So, we have an Inquisition, a DA2, and an Origins character, Rogue Warrior, and Mage. Who do we want to start with?
Let's start with the origins character since it seems about right.
Okay.
So
Wynne.
Wynne
Uh,
is the grandmother of Dragon
Absolutely.
Age.
I really appreciate having that character because that's not a character we often get in video games. A
Like
grandmother
she,
figure.
yeah, because she also gives you like pretty much she gives you and all your companions advice no matter what it is, and she will sternly tell you when you're wrong.
Yeah.
And she literally is that grandmother. She will wag her finger, and she will joke about when she dies one day and everything. So she's just amazing and lovely to have, even though like she's like she can be the sweetest person, or she can literally turn on you at the minute and just berate you for being stupid.
hmm And she she can be a bit judgmental at times, but it's because she cares.
Yeah, but I do, and also I can't help but think like from the novels and everything how the fact that she had a son and everything, the fact that coming from the circle, she's gone through a lot. So you can see, her like where her wisdom comes from, even though she may be a little stuck in her ways.
hmm
But overall, when I guess you can't really blame her. She's pretty old. Is she like she's one of the oldest characters I think we meet in Dragon Age for the most part.
Uh,
I mean,
well, yeah, I guess not counting like Flemeth.
not counting Fleming and not counting like the from the like the Warren's past DLC where but those one of them's dead, another one's just prolonging their life.
Yeah, that's not really fair.
So
All right. I want to give her an A tier. Any thoughts on where?
I would say right next to Aveline is good
Yeah,
because
okay.
again she is like again not just being a grandmother figure, but she's like a very central point of like keeping you kind of grounded and human.
hmm
Again, I think my favorite moment with Wynne is like you're in camp, you get to talk to her about everything you're going through because you have yet to have a time to like decompress, and I appreciate that moment from her.
Yeah. All right, Fenris. I did not know Fenris existed for my first playthrough of DA2. Because you get his quest from, in my case, it was Athenril sending me a letter. And I'm like, I don't want to do any more work for Athenril. No. And so I went through the whole game not even knowing that he was a character.
So you just completely passed them up and never
Yeah.
saw.
And then once I finally did meet him in subsequent playthroughs, yeah, I thought he was a dick. Um, and he's a little bit more justified than the others on this list. None of them were slaves.
Yeah, the only thing about Fenris that kind of somewhat annoyed me about by him most of the time is the fact that if you have a mage in your party, depending on the mage, if it's Bethany or anything, he's very judgmental against them. He's like, you need to leave her alone.
Yeah.
But he is very unique in his character because his introduction when you first see him is just him just putting a hand through a dude's chest, which it's like, okay, maybe you don't want to piss the angry elf off.
Yes, that is a very badass intro. And he, with the whole story with his markings and whatnot, that's just a very interesting story on its own.
And again, it's a whole different origin like for any character. Again, he a Tevinter slave and everything. He's a very unique character, even if he is pretty much a dick for the most part when you meet him. Again, justifiably so, but his character has a great progression, and I think he's for the most part again unique for who he is and what he's trying to do. But again, he does start growing on you a little bit. He doesn't have too much of a character arc,
Y-
but he does become a little more understanding
Yeah,
and tolerable of some mages.
yeah, and he's willing to work with them. Like he always shows respect towards Bethany. Um, he shows a lot less respect towards Merrill and Anders.
Well, Merrill because of blood magic, so
Yeah,
understand.
and Anders because abomination. But Bethany, he's more or less good with. Like he's wary for obvious reasons, but she is a model mage, and so Fenris is not blind to that. He's not blinded by his hatred
I know,
entirely.
because even I think on a run through, if you play as a female hawk and a mage, you still can have a relationship with him, and that becomes I think there's I can't remember the romance for that either, because I know I ran through everything like once, but that does come up a little bit that he's still very wary of mages even if he's in a relationship with one. But
hmm
again, just that idea itself is. shows like his character progression in that.
Right. And he does grow. Like you have the a quest in each act where you just go and just have a heart to heart with your companions. And I enjoy seeing him grow through each of those conversations. You know, he
Also,
kind of mellows out a little bit.
it also is still heartbreaking when you finally get his quest with Daenerys and his sister's there, and she kind
Yeah,
of sold him out. That's heartbreaking too.
it is.
So like you can nothing but feel for him because what he ends up getting the marks because of his family overall, and then his sister ends up just setting him out right back to Daenerys.
Hmm.
But overall you love his character where he goes with it, and I really do hope you see more of him too.
Yeah. Very
But yeah,
unique, very good character arc. So I kind of want to put him in A. What do you want to do?
yeah, I say A is good, but mm,
Yeah.
yeah, that's about right.
All right. All right. Cole is an easy S tier for me.
Yeah,
He, the idea of someone, of an entity whose entire being is about helping people is just, that's so inspiring to me. And
I
yeah.
I love Cole because he's for the most part the most innocent character you get in Dragon Age because he's very new to the world,
Hmm.
but at the same time he has his own idea of what purpose is. I think that's really unique to the fact that he's a spirit, inside its body. But his perspective of the world is also very again innocent when you meet and talk to him.
Yeah. I He's got so much unique commentary, not just because he's a spirit, but also because he's new to the world. So it's very different than the way Justice had his own perspective.
Justice just saw the world as kind of he. I don't know. Justice was like he's kind of cruel to the world. He saw beauty in it, but he is also very stern about it. While Cole, he sees the beauty and he just wants to help grow that.
Hmm.
So Cole was very unique in that form, even to the point where I guess his towards the end you can choose if he becomes more spirit or more human. And when you make him more spirit, he becomes a lot more like Justice, where he's a lot more stern and kind of lose that kind of shine to his eyes on the world. As opposed to make him more human, he has more free will and just I don't want to say he gets lost. No, he becomes just what do you want to do? He's a lot more free to do whatever he wants, which is the first for him.
Hmm. It is a very hard choice because he almost seems happier as a spirit, but I make him human because that's what he wanted. He wants to be a real boy,
Yeah,
um, and so that's why I make him human. But
it's a, I will won't can't argue the fact that Varric also makes that decision a lot easier
yeah, I
because
love
they're done.
I love his relationship with Varric. I love his relationship with most of the companions. Iron Bull. Um, he's got a really he's got a really heartbreaking set of banter with Dorian.
Uh,
Um,
Cole's story is heartbreaking.
yeah,
Like
but
you think about it, it's just sad when you think about it, like the fact that the original Cole died in a prison, locked up, starved to death, and then the spirit comes to help, unfortunately, a little later.
yeah, the forgotten boy. It's so tragic, and yet Cole is still this light. He's a light to me, the player. He's a light to the Inquisitor and to those around him.
So I will say his gameplay is also like just fun as well because he just disappears and everything.
Yeah.
So he's he's a very fascinating character just with skills alone as well.
Hmm. All right. So here we go. In F tier, we have Vivienne. In D, we have Anders, Carver, and Loghain. In C, we have Oghren, Merrill, Justice, Sebastian, Shale, and Velanna. In B, we have Zevran, Solas, Sigrun, Awakening Anders, Isabella, Sera, Blackwall. In
Yeah, I think we
A,
also had Sten and B.
oh yeah, we had Sten in here. In A, we have Fenris, Wynne, Aveline, Morrigan, Cassandra, the Iron Bull, Dorian, Nathaniel Howe. And in S tier, Cole, everybody's favorite dog, Leliana, Bethany, both Varrics, and Alistair.
All right.
All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see any other tier list videos like this for anything Dragon Age related, absolutely let us know down in the comments section. Don, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, so until next time, I'll see you later.
Later.